Recently I saw a video by an online singing teacher who vigorously criticised another online singing teacher's material and delivery thereof. The gist of the argument was, why pay hundreds of dollars for a vocal program when you can get it all for free here on YouTube? Sure, I hear the logic driving the argument, but does said logic render paid vocal programs moot? I think you're going to want to hear the answer to this one.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
Hi everyone, it's Thursday, so that means it's time to deep dive into a subject that hopefully develops your voice and improves your sound. If you've been a part of the Voice Essentials community for any length of time, you'd know that I'm always reluctant to intentionally target another singing teacher's pedagogy and teaching methods. Unfortunately, this stands in direct contrast to what many of us encounter here on YouTube. For good and for ill, YouTube has created a platform where everyone can parade themselves as an expert. Now, it's not for me to suggest who is and isn't an expert in this video, but I am always wary of YouTube presenters who present the material in an overly exclusive manner. You see, I believe it takes a village to raise a singer.
Sound check.
Now, in order for me to flesh out this idea of a village-raised singer, I need you to indulge me for a brief moment while I tell you a bit of my backstory and how I came to be the singing teacher I am today, which hopefully is not the same singing teacher I will be tomorrow, but we'll get to that later. Now, it was the year 2000 when I finished my first postgraduate studies in vocal pedagogy. Contemporary singing teachers in Australia were a rare commodity in those days, and educated ones even rarer. The uncommon nature of what I was doing in my studio 15 years ago brought with it some intrigue, which in turn generated a waiting list a mile long. My newfound teaching celebrity resonated with what and how I'd been taught at music college. I still remember my teacher at the time stating that there were only 2 or 3 of us in the country teaching at the level that she and I were delivering. Of course, this does wonders for the ego. One starts to think of oneself as a gift to the singing community. I started to inform students that they should forget all they'd been taught prior to their lessons with me, because what I was doing with them was all they would ever need as a developing singer. Sure, the seed of my pedagogical narcissism had been planted by the training I'd received at university, but look, it didn't take long for me to water and tend my inflated ego with the reassurances from my subjects. I mean my students, of course. I'm guessing you're already swallowing back the bile, and so you should be. My arrogance was deplorable. It was born out of a deep-seated insecurities that to this day I need to work on to ensure they don't rule my life or my teaching studio. As is often the case, one of the best ways to combat our insecurities is to do the exact opposite of what the immature self would have us do. Now, in this instance, I started to radically change my teaching worldview, and so now I intentionally look for opportunities to praise other singing teachers and the work they are doing. I have so many singing teacher colleagues from all over the world who are doing marvellous things in their studios, and yes, even here on YouTube. Please hear me correctly, I'm a work in progress. At times the old Daniel raises his ugly head and beats his chest, but for the most part the new Daniel is winning a little more each and every day. So what does my personal story have to do with the village raising the singer? I'm glad you asked.
Sound check.
We are all a product of our journey thus far. As we've journeyed, many of us, as developing singers, have come into contact with multiple viewpoints and ideas about learning to sing. Sometimes these various ideas conflict, with one method directly countering the other. But is this such a bad thing? Well, at this point in our discussion, I do need to state that there are some approaches to teaching singing that can damage your voice. Here in the 21st century, there is no excuse for singing teaching that is not fact-based. The human voice is the most researched instrument on the planet, and as a result, we have so many excellent texts and resources at our disposal that there really is no justification for the teaching approach that is simply driven by baseless concepts and beliefs. And this all being said, the delivery of fact-based singing exercises is as diverse as the amount of quality singing teachers worldwide. For example, one of my closest teaching colleagues, Dr. Melissa Forbes from the University of Southern Queensland, teaches from an almost identical pedagogy as myself, but our delivery is different. Why? Because we are different, and therein lies the beauty of the village. The diverse delivery of good pedagogy enriches the lives of a developing singer. But what about the obvious conflicts I identified earlier? Well, as I'm often given to saying here at Voice Essentials, your voice will tell you what is working and, more importantly, what is not working. If you encounter a new idea or instruction here on YouTube, then I encourage you to engage with the activity. But if, after a brief period of working the exercise, your voice is not gaining from the experience, then move on to something else. It's that simple. There's no need to verbal the singing teacher who provided the activity. And if you've learnt to do the exercise here on YouTube, who's to say the fault is not actually yours? Perhaps you're simply doing the exercise incorrectly.
Sound check.
So let's wrap this video up. I commenced today's discussion by mentioning one singing teacher's complaint about another singing teacher's method and mode of delivery. Is this justified? Personally, I don't think so. Sure, there are vocal programs that cost hundreds of dollars, and sure, you can access a lot of material here on YouTube for free. But does one automatically negate the other? Of course not. Always remember, every singing teacher has something to offer you. Some teachers have more to offer than others, and yes, at times you will need to pay some dollars to access higher levels of instruction, but that doesn't mean that there's some conspiracy going on. It simply means that in life, not everything is free. So my advice, take advantage of the free stuff, and where appropriate, spend a few dollars to extend your learning. If you spend your money wisely, you won't be disappointed that you did. Now, as for Dr. Dan and Voice Essentials, I remain committed to delivering excellent free content here on YouTube and on my website. And if you're interested, I do have a free vocal program called 7 Days to a Better Voice. There's a link in the notes sections below. I've designed the program as a 7-day technical detox for your voice before you spend your hard-earned dollars on those expensive programs I've been mentioning throughout today's video. So over to you. What are your thoughts on this subject? Take a moment to leave a comment and express your agreement with what I've said, or otherwise. All views are welcome. And if this is your first time to Voice Essentials, you are also welcome. Here at Voice Essentials, we're a friendly community of singers from across the globe who, just like you, want to raise their voice in song. Take the time to check out the Voice Essentials channel and subscribe if you're passionate about developing a voice and improving your sound. Until I see you in the next Voice Essentials video, I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.